Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Um, Actually, I feel very touched for this moment as a 20 years or probably 25 years of the Aceh peace processes. Um, Let me first express my feeling. This is like a deja vu for me, back to 25 years when actually we started these peace processes with Pak Hasan. However, before proceed with my storytelling, mostly probably in my presentations, I just would like to take this opportunity to pay tribute, especially to the victims of the conflicts in Aceh. And in particular, three of my good friends, close friends, who very much actually involved in these peace processes since the year 2000s. First, of course, my former senior ambassador, Ambassador Yudhoyono, who actually led the second phase of these peace processes during the cessation of hostilities agreement. He passed away a couple of years ago, and he is in the heroes' cemeteries now. Rest in peace. Secondly, my roommate actually, when we had this negotiation in Helsinki, Dr. Farid Hussein, also he passed away a couple of years ago. And the third is General Usman Basa, who actually tirelessly from the military sides follow very closely and give us advice during the Helsinki processes. And one person actually probably is not much mentioned during the Koha peace processes. He is an Acehnese, also passed away. He is in the rest in peace in the cemetery, hero cemeteries now. Mr. Amran Samzani, he is an Acehnese. Four of those colleagues I really would like to pay tribute for their tireless and dedications and wholehearted, sincere efforts to bring peace for Acehnese people. Of course, indeed, I would like to pay tribute to President Gusti, who actually initiated this process. Probably first, I just would like to make a disclaimer before proceeding. In these peace processes for the year 2000 until 2005, I'm very lucky that I was part of this failure and the success of the peace processes from the year 2000 to 2005. I serve for presidents during these peace processes. President Gusti, President Megawati, President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, and President Marty Ahtisaari of Finland. I serve only one foreign minister, Pak Hasan Wirayuda. During this time, you can imagine there's only the foreign minister who dedicated for these peace processes. I serve three chief of negotiator from Indonesia. First, of course, Pak Hasan. When only two of us actually first in January 2000s went to Bafua to start these peace processes. Secondly, the chief negotiator, of course, Ambassador Yudhoyono, as I said, who already passed away. And the third one was Pak Hamid Awaludin, who you met a couple of days ago here. So with this disclaimer, I just would like to make a clarification. Also. First, Aceh peace process is not 20 years, but in fact, we started 25 years, January 2000s. Of course, that's 5 years of, I said it's like roller coasters, periods, ups and down, very, very deeply, until Koha collapsed, and then followed by tsunami, and then we continued again in January 2005 with the Helsinki processes. The second clarification, many said that, oh, this is an intrastate conflict, so that's why the government did not involve the foreign ministry. But the fact is actually, even during the first efforts of the peace processes, the foreign ministry officials already there, which is Pak Hasan and myself. And the second part of the peace processes during the Koha, Ambassador Wiryono was actually a career diplomat. Of course, at the beginning of the peace processes, the government didn't want to internationalize the process. That's why the government, I recalled in the year 2000, January, when Pak Hasan was appointed as a chief negotiator, the government of Indonesia cautiously tried to explain to the public the appointment of Pak Hasan Wirayuda. There is no relation whatsoever with his status as the permanent representative of Indonesia in Geneva. So it was very, very clear, crystal clear that time how the government tried to make a very distinct line. This is not international issues. This is a very domestic issue. That's for the clarification. Now, a fact check. Of course, you are fully aware about the Helsinki Agreement, signed 15th of August 2005. This is actually one of the shortest peace agreement. You can check it, the peace agreement. One of the shortest peace agreement was, of course, to tell you frankly, actually, there was another even shorter version of the agreement when in May 2000, Pak Hasan mentioning about the humanitarian pause. There was a document, it's called Joint Understanding for Humanitarian Pause, even shorter than MOU Helsinki. Second, a fact check, only 7 months negotiations. Some peace processes were negotiated for many, many years, even without no promise of success. But this MOU Helsinki was negotiated only 7 months with the 5 rounds of negotiation, but 6 actually, but people only 5, but 6, including the visit of Pak Hamid Awaludin and accompanied by myself, only 2 of us, in the very humble apartment of President Marty Ahtisaari to give a final touch of the Helsinki Agreement. On amnesty, it was taken only 2 weeks to exercise, to complete the amnesties, those who are political prisoners, from 17th to 30th of August 2005. About 1,424 political prisoners were released that time. I believe generals observe also these processes. AMM, Aceh Monitoring Missions, only 16 months from September 2005 to December 2006. Even though it's called monitoring mission, but there was no such military nuances in this. That's why it's called a civilian mission was a step up, just to avoid this is something military operations. That's why the chief of this AMM was appointed Mr. Peter Veit from European Union, a civilian diplomat. And the decommissioning process for 840 guns, I don't know whether this is a real gun or plastic guns or whatever, it's only 3 months basically, or 4 months, from September to December 2005. General was here, actually part of this AMM, General Nepat. A redeployment of the police and military only took 4 months, which about 31,000 police and military were redeployed out from Aceh. So another fact check actually that I wish to share with you. We know only a couple of documents, COHA, Cessation of Hostilities Agreement, and MOU Helsinki. But in fact, if you look at from the year 2000 until 2005, at least there are 5 documents signed by the two sides. Of course, the first one is the humanitarian pause in May 2000. Secondly, what is called provisional understanding in January 2001. Third, joint statement 10 of May 2002. This is focused mostly on the autonomy. Of course, later on, GAM, the Free Aceh Movement and the Indonesian government has different interpretation of this autonomy, because for the GAM, they thought this autonomy is pathways to independence. And for the Indonesian government, this is the model that they proposed to GAM for GAM to accept. And of course, the COHA, Cessation of Hostilities Agreement, on 9 of December 2002, of course, then proceeded by, it was actually, before the COHA was signed, there was an event, big event in Tokyo. It was on the 3rd of December 2002, in which donors countries gathered in Tokyo, especially initiated by the US and Japan, to finance this humanitarian project and also for the COHA operations. And of course, the last one is the Helsinki Agreement on 15 of August 2005. So if you learn about the conflicts, peace processes in Aceh, at least there are 5 important documents signed by the two sides. Now, I just would like to share with you the general principles of this conflict situation in Aceh. First, I think both sides very much in the same boat and in the same opinion that give peace a chance. So give peace a chance, because they experienced for more than 25 years of military conflicts, but no whatsoever successful outcomes from those military conflicts. And of course, there is no such an instant conflict resolution from this conflict. So enter the second one, enter negotiations if all parties have the intention to negotiate. So that's the fact that both sides, the Government of Indonesia and the Free Aceh Movement, agreed to enter the, of course, in the first effort, it was so difficult to bring the Free Aceh Movement, and also from Indonesian side, especially from the military side, to sit on equal footing with the Free Aceh Movement. So the third principle, peace processes has never been easy. It takes several years to strike a durable peace deal. So, of course, a peace deal is not the ultimate goal. This process is ups and downs, and we experienced this since 5 years ago. And not all issues can be resolved at once at an early stage of the negotiations. So why Aceh peace processes took 5 years so long. And this is very important, actually. This is what Pak Hasan started from the very beginning. Building mutual trust and confidence among parties involved is paramount importance. We thought building trust from the very beginning. I don't know how long the peace processes would take. So then I would like to fill in a little bit what Pak Hasan has been mentioned, because after Pak Hasan's presentations, I feel, I don't have nothing to add actually, because that's probably what I would like to share with you. There's something behind the scene which not everybody aware about what actually happened behind the scene, which is even more fascinating. Of course, Pak Hasan already mentioning about the momentum, the democratizations, the political will of the leadership of the two sides, and the tsunami which bring these noble efforts to be realized. But before that, actually, before the process of the peace negotiations started, I recall last year I was in Jeddah on mediations conference. Suddenly, Pak Hasan, I met somebody which very probably monumental during the first day of the Aceh peace processes. His name is Sultan Barakat. I don't know whether still remember. The good friend of Martin Griffiths. There's actually two of them, Martin Griffiths and Sultan Barakat, in the year 1999, even before the season of hostility, the Jeddah Kemanusiaan Humanitarian Post started. Both of them met President Abdurrahman Wahid. Then I did actually recall what the conversation between Sultan Barakat and President Gusdur at that time. Then Sultan Barakat reminded me, "Hey Puja, you still remember what Gusdur said to me?" Apparently, Gusdur said to Sultan Barakat, apparently to bring peace in Aceh, we need a sultan. This is because of Sultan Barakat names. That's what Sultan Barakat reminded me about this conversation. And of course, Gusdur very fascinated with two heroes. That's why probably why he chose Henry Dunant Center to mediating this. First, Nightingale, Florence Nightingale's, the woman heroes, the French woman heroes. The second one is Henry Dunant himself. Is Henry Dunant, the Pramuka, now become the scout, and of course the use is for the ICRC. That's probably for those reasons why Gusdur so impressed with Henry Dunant Center at that time. And in January 2000, Gusdur flew to Geneva prior to his meeting in Davos for the World Economic Forum. You recall, but in the evening, Gusdur stopped over in the office of the Henry Dunant Center. All diplomats in Geneva were there, just would like to listen what would be the peace processes offered by President Gusdur. But instead of discussing the Aceh peace processes. Gus Dur that time, most of the time, just talking about General Wiranto, about the dismissal of General Wiranto. I don't know what the hard feeling that time, but Pak Hasan still remember that. I asked Pak Hasan after the end of this meeting, Pak Hasan, what should I report to the government? Because Gus Dur always mentioning about dismissing General Wiranto. So Pak Hasan said, no, don't write anything to the government. Even Gus Dur himself, he said about the dismissal of General Wiranto. And then the following week, of course, after Davos, and then Pak Hasan asked me, Puja, let's go. I didn't know actually after Pak Hasan came back from Jakarta that time, suddenly he asked me, Puja, you rent a car early in the morning in January. Where are we going, Pak? We are going to Bafua. This Pak Hasan mentioned about that. We went to Bafua. Please make sure that nobody follow us. That's why we drove, I remember, Pak, the BMW, the color is green. An automatic car. It was the first ever time in my life I drove an automatic car. And we left the office at 1 a.m. in the morning. When everybody in the office left already, nobody knows. We miss in action for almost 1 week. Nobody knows where we were that time. And we drove this car at 1 a.m. January. You can imagine, so foggy. It's only 1 meters the site. 1 a.m. in the morning to Bafua to meet this GAM leaderships the following day. It was a fascinating story. That's why there was a lot of dramas during the first day, during the humanitarian pause. I called this meeting, the first day of the meeting of the humanitarian pause, as an Hasan Summit. You know, that's why I called it Hasan Summit, because Indonesian delegation chaired by Hasan Wirayuda, the GAM side chaired by Hasan Tiro, and another factions of GAM that time from MB GAM, Majelis or Musyawarah Besar GAM from Malaysia, chaired by Husaini Hasan. And then another Hasan, actually, one of our delegation, Pak Hasan remembered, is a lady delegation, a female, the only female delegation who involved in this peace negotiation. Her name is Naima Hasan. Can you imagine this? By coincidence, all Hasan's name just suddenly came up, and that's why I call Hasan Summit. This is a fascinating story. Of course, we went to Bafua, and momentum actually created even before that. As I said, that's after Tokyo meeting failed, and then tsunami. No, it was even before tsunami, because another impression also of the public thought that the Helsinki processes, the Aceh peace processes, triggered by tsunami. No, not because of the tsunami. Even before tsunami, as I said, this humanitarian pause started in January, and then Decision of Facilities Agreement in 2002. And prior to the tsunami, if you recall, in August 2003, the pre-negotiation and reconciliatory building trust has been done actually by Indonesian government. So this is also another momentum. I recall that after tsunami in January 2025, before we went to Bafua, to Helsinki, Pak Hamid called me, "Hey Puja, you draft an agreement in which you have to put inside first how you can address our Indonesian gratitude to the Acehnese people, in which you recall, I still remember that during the fight, during the independence fight, Acehnese provided us with airplane, Solawa, to bring weapons from Burma that time. So we have to pay back. We have to pay back the generosity of Acehnese people by giving them back a new airplane. So that's the initial thinking. Second, also the compensation. Think about the compensation. When the GAM surrendered their weapons, so what in return that we have to give them? So think about giving them land, for example, for compensation. Third one, think also about the new autonomy. So just copy and paste the Papuan autonomy for the concept in the agreement. So that's a three element. I remember that when Pak Hamid called me for the, of course, it's not so detailed, but it's only a very general. So the second thing I would like to share with you, this process, lot of make it or break it. Of course, the very beginning, there are a lot of critics actually from the politicians, from the military, from the member of the parliament about this process, because the parliament, the member of parliament, they thought that the government did not consult them on this process. That's why they feel blank about this process. On the humanitarian pause, during the process, I told you there are two GAM factions actually were in Papua. You remember, Pasan, the GAM from Sweden, Swedish GAM held by Hassan Tiro and Malik Mahmud. And also another factions of GAM was the MB GAM by Hussaini Hassan. And during the first day of the meeting, of course, the meeting was separated, not at the same time. And apparently, the Swedish GAM did not aware that there was another GAM, faction GAM, also in Papua at that time. I don't know what happened that time. Then the Swedish GAM knew that MB GAM was there, and then you recall they boycotted, and then they didn't want to meet us again unless the MB GAM were kicked out from the meeting. So eventually, Henry Dunan Center made the decision. The MB GAM was sent back to out of Papua and did not include it in the negotiation process. During after humanitarian pause and between humanitarian pause and COHA, there was about 7 months pause from July 2000 to February 2002. So a lot of accidents happened, which the situation was deteriorating actually, which make it no appetite for more for negotiating again. And even during the COHA processes before it was signed, GAM many times absent from the meeting. They didn't appear. We came from Jakarta to Geneva, and then they simply didn't show up. So that's why it's hard to determine how to build the trust and confidence if one of the party was not there. And even during the very last day of the negotiation of the text of decision of a peace agreement on 8th of December 2002, one day prior to the signing, General Yudhoyono was there also in the room in Hotel Intercontinental in Geneva. We were there, the five negotiating team from Indonesia. General Yudhoyono was there, and Pa SBY as Menko Polhukam that time. It was the first time I heard he raised his very, very high voice because he tried to salvage, because there was almost a deadlock during that time. This because of the issue of locking, decommissioning, and a lot of pressure from Aceh at that time, especially from the military, because there was already efforts of ambushing the GAM by the military. Only need instruction from Geneva actually. If the COHA failed, then there would be a strike to the GAM that time. And of course, Indonesian delegation that time wished to bring peace to back to Indonesia. That's why President SBY is so determined that COHA should be signed. Then it was he raised his voice actually from somebody calling from Aceh. That he said, "Give me 3 hours to solve this problem." I mean, because of the deadlock on the issue of locking, so we tried to extend the negotiation, but the pressure actually then to us, to the negotiator, 5 of us, and we dismissed from the room. Bapak General listened that time. We went back to our room and then trying to find out the strategy, how to salvage, how to reach the agreement by tomorrow on the 9th of August. A lot of pressure for the delegation. And then Pak Wir said, okay, please call Martin Griffiths and Andrew Marshall that time from Henry Dunant Center to our room. And then actually our strategy that time, Pak Wir, those who knows Pak Wir, Pak Hasan knows Pak Wir, he really gave a pressure to Henry Dunant Center that we come to a strategy that we blame Henry Dunant Center. They have no capacity, they have no willingness to solve the problem. And of course, this very pressure to Henry Dunant Center actually gave another boost to Henry Dunant Center to try and negotiate again with GAM to find solutions. Then the following day, early at 4 o'clock in the morning, Martin Griffiths called me. Hey Puja, GAM agreed on the locking. Because actually, I said the locking problems that time actually on the decommissioning. Because we proposed 3 locks for, or 3 keys for the decommissioning for GAM's guns to be deposited. But GAM refused. They want only 1 hold by them. But I said, it's not the commissioning if you only have your own keys in this respect. And finally, after back and forth, and okay, 2 keys, but the second key held by Henry Dunant Center. We give trust to Henry Dunant Center. If something happened, we blame the Henry Dunant Center for breaching the decision of hostilities agreement. So finally, on the 9th of August, we signed the agreement. Then, if you remember also, the first day of negotiation in Helsinki, also in January 2005, it was almost broke because of the refusal of GAM to see the video of tsunami. We propose actually, Indonesian delegation proposed, hey, that is for the icebreaker actually. Hey, let's see this video. And then we gave a sympathy to the victims of, but GAM refused to those video to be shown. And the Indonesian delegation insisted this should be shown. But that time was so crucial. Even the first day of the negotiation almost broke. And we are ready actually to pack and going back to Jakarta. But Marty Ahtisaari so skillfully actually persuaded us, okay, we tried find solutions, how to deal with the video. And then we agreed then later on, the video was not shown, but Pak Sofyan Jalil, one of our negotiator, to tell from his own mouth about the situation of tsunami in Aceh. So of course the process is ups and down. I don't know how much time I have. I can tell you all behind the scenes and storytellings for 2 days. So it's done. Yeah. Okay. I just would like to conclude. Ups and down the process, and war and diplomacy is very, very crucial at that time. That's why during the 8th of December 2002, diplomacy prevailed. That's why we could prevent the bloodshed in Aceh, because then COHA was signed. But on the contrary, in May 2003, when COHA failed in Tokyo, immediately after midnight in May 2003, there's a bloodshed again because of the failure of diplomacy. My another point is, of course, the evil is in the detail, because we discuss lot on the details in the COHA or in the MOU Helsinki. Well, so I would like to conclude actually. I still have so long issues, including the sensitive issues. I could send in, and of course, lesson learned. But anyway, so I just would like to conclude that goodwill alone will not achieve peace. But the most important is we need strategy in peace processes. As Pa Hasan also mentions, we need a joint ownership, and both the agreement and also the follow-up. Of course, if you look at again the MOU Helsinki, the first paragraph, actually that's the spirit of the MOU, of the agreement. It is said in the first paragraph, the very first paragraph of the MOU Helsinki, I quote, confirm their commitment to a peaceful, comprehensive, and sustainable solutions to the conflict with, I underlined, dignity for all. That's actually for the dignity for all. For 5 years, we fight for the peace agreement in Aceh. Thank you so much. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Otsukare sama desita.